Hello and welcome to episode 4 of English User TV. Hello and welcome to episode 4 of English User TV. This week is a specially shortened session for Korea's holiday season. English User TV comes to you from Korea, and this week's episode is entitled Tips and Tricks Holiday Special. So, what is in this week's show? As I think there's a clue in the title here. It's Tips and Tricks Holiday Special. So all you're going to get this week is tips and tricks to learning English. In addition to that, of course, we will have an expression of the week and this week's to-do list. Okay, learning tip number 1 is limit your daily learning time to 15 minutes. Very important. You need to learn English every day for at least 1 week for this to work. So learning tip number 1 is limit your daily learning time to 15 or maybe 20 minutes a day. And don't forget, this must be done at least 6 days a week. Of course, you can take a rest on the 7th day. So learning tip number 1, limit your daily learning time to 15 minutes. Okay, everybody, don't forget to check out our FES live chatting session brought to you every week by Fancorp English Solutions. You can check out the next date and time at www.englishusertv.com. And just remind you, all you have to do is type in fancorpenglish@hotmail.com to your users list on your MSN Messenger, and then just tune in on the right time. This is your chance to chat live with a native English speaker. Don't forget, this week we'll be taking a break, but we will be back next week. Okay, moving on to learning tip number 2. Okay, learning tip number 2 is to learn 10 vocabulary words every day. All you need to do is write them down on a small piece of paper and then carry that piece of paper with you everywhere you go that next day. So, whenever you're on the bus, train, subway, underground, sitting in the office, going to the toilet, wherever you go, you have this little piece of paper with you every day. You can check and learn 10 vocabulary words. That should be 50 words a week if you take 2 days off. So there you go. Learning tip number 2. Learn 10 vocabulary words every day. Let's move on to learning tip number 3. Okay, learning tip number 3 is a tip that I've tried before. It really does work. All you need to do is listen to an English song, or in my case, a Korean song or a French song, and try to understand what the song is about. Even if you are just a beginner at English, what you'll find is you can pick up a lot of words that you already know. Fantastic way of learning English. So there you go. Listen to an English song and try to understand what the song is about. And you can get the lyrics or the words to most songs online. Just type in the title and you'll probably find that the song words are available online, so you can listen and read at the same time. So there you go. Learning tip number 3, listen to an English song and try to understand what the song is about. And you can get all the lyrics that you want for most songs online. Okay, this week's expression of the week. I had some thinking to do on this one, and I wanted to bring you a kind of holiday one that most people might not know. And the only one I could come up with is, are you going anywhere for your holiday? Are you going anywhere for your holiday? Why, I hear you ask, do we ask this question? Well, I'll tell you. The reason we ask this question is these days most people travel abroad. Not most people, but a lot of people do travel abroad for their holiday. And so it's quite a common question these days. Are you going anywhere for your holiday? And next week, I can answer that question. Yes, I am. I'm going to China. There you go. Expression of the week. Are you going anywhere for your holiday? Okay, let's move on to learning tip number 4. Okay, learning tip number 4 is learn English with your friends. Lots of things you can do here. If you're meeting in a coffee shop, a restaurant, or a bar, what you can do is you can set a time. For example, you can say, right, guys, for the next 5 minutes, we are going to learn English. We're going to speak in English for 5 minutes. And you can time it, and you can set penalties like drinking a whole glass of beer without stopping. Fantastic way of learning English, I think. So there you go. Learn English with your friends. Great way to learn English. Set a time limit, 5 minutes English, 5 minutes your native language, 5 minutes English, or whatever. Also, you can play other drinking games like numbers games, but only use English numbers, not your native numbers. So there you go, a wonderful way of learning English. Learn English with your friends. But best of all, it's a lot of fun. Okay, let's move on to the final tip of this week. Learning tip number 5. Okay, the final tip of the week I think is a great one. Practice learning difficult pronunciation in the shower. Why in the shower? Well, there's a good reason behind this. Is when you're taking a shower, usually you're alone and you have the door closed. Therefore, nobody can hear you. So you can practice learning difficult pronunciation in the shower where nobody can hear you, and you've got about 10-20 minutes. Depends how long you take in the shower. What else are you doing? So there you go. Learn difficult pronunciation or dialogues or anything else whilst you're in the shower. Nobody can hear you when you're in the shower. Okay, let's do this week's to-do list before we finish. Okay, this week's to-do list is quite simple, really. This week's show, as you know, is a shortened show. So I think you should be reviewing episodes 1, 2, and 3 of English EUTV. Number 2, practice learning English for 15 minutes every day. Can't be difficult. It's only 90 minutes. And finally, learn 10 vocabulary words every day. That's 50 words to learn this week. A little bit tough, a little bit busy, but hey, you want to speak English well? You have to learn English well. So, number 1, review English EUTV episodes 1, 2, and 3. Practice English learning for 15 minutes every day. And finally, learn 10 vocabulary words every day. And that's it for this week's show. Thank you for joining in. Sorry it's a shortened show, but as I say, it's a holiday season and I'm having to fly off to China as soon as we finish recording this show. Join us again next week. We'll be back to our usual format and we will have podcast of the week, website of the